আসসালামু আলাইকুম। সম্মানিত বিটিপিটি প্রশিক্ষণার্থীবৃন্দ, সবাইকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি আমাদের আজকের ভিডিওতে। আমাদের আজকের আলোচনার বিষয় মডিউল 6 ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ এডুকেশন ইংলিশ। এখানে আমাদের ৫০ টি মাল্টিপল চয়েস কোয়েশ্চেন অর্থাৎ এমসিকিউ প্রশ্ন এবং তার সঠিক উত্তর রয়েছে। ৫০ টি ফিল ইন দ্য ব্ল্যাঙ্কস অর্থাৎ শূন্যস্থান পূরণ রয়েছে এবং ৫০ টি শর্ট কোয়েশ্চেন আনসার রয়েছে। 1. From which class is English taught as a compulsory subject in primary schools in Bangladesh? Class 1. 2. What is the primary goal of the revised 2021 English curriculum? Acquiring basic communication skills for real life situations. 3. The competencies of primary English curriculum are comparable to which level of the international framework? CEFR A1. For which of the following is the core competency of listening, understanding simple conversation, instructions, and descriptions? 5. Reading aloud text with proper sound, stress, intonation, and punctuation belongs to which skill? Reading. 6. What is the first step in teaching phonics? Identifying letter and word sounds, sound identification. 7. Combining individual sounds like C-A-T to pronounce cat is called what? Sound blending. 8. Breaking down a complete word into its individual sounds. Example, dog into D-O-G is called what? Segmenting. 9. According to Donald Neil Thurber, how many basic strokes make up the English alphabet? 4. 10. What activities should be done in the pre-writing stage to help students control their pencil, drawing patterns, lines from left to right? 11. Which types of strokes are used to form the letters E, F, H, L, T? Vertical and horizontal strokes. 12. What is the language used by teachers in the classroom to manage the class and communicate called classroom language? 13. When a teacher says open your books at page 15, which aspect of classroom language is this? Giving instructions. What is the essential component of modern lesson plan? Learning outcomes, objective, activities, time and assessment. 15. In a lesson plan, what does the I do, we do, you do model present? Gradual teachers demonstration, point practice, joint practice, and students independent work. 16. What is the main purpose of the teacher's guide TG developed by NCTB? The TG মূল উদ্দেশ্য কি? Guiding the teacher step by step in conducting each session. What are the three main stages of listening? লিসেনিং এর মূল ধাপ তিনটি কি কি? প্রি লিসেনিং, while listening, and post listening. 18. Showing a picture before a listening activity to let students predict the context is called what? Predicting or gauging. 19. What is the correct sequence of labels in speaking skills? Control, guided, and free. Role play usually helps in developing which type of speaking skills. 20. Role play usually helps in developing which types of speaking skills? Guided and free speaking. 21. Which of the following is not one of the five pillars of reading? Handwriting. Reading with accuracy, speed, and proper expression is called what? Reading fluency. 23. What kind of reading is done for a detailed understanding of the text, grammar, and specific details? Intensive reading. What is reading extra library books for pleasure or general understanding called extensive reading? 25. What is the primary goal of reading comprehensions? Extracting and understanding meaning from the text. What are questions like who, what, where, when, whose answers are directly found in the text called literal comprehension questions. Based on students' writing freedom and grammatical accuracy into how many types can writing activities be classified? Three types: control, guided, and free. 28. Creating sentences using a substitution table is an example of which writing activity? Control writing. Writing a short paragraph using clues or questions is an example of which writing activity? Guided writing. 30. Imagine you are visiting a zoo. Write 4 sentences about what you see. What type of writing is this? Free writing. Which steps should be avoided when teaching English vocabulary in class 1? Spelling and writing words in notebooks. Since class 1 writing curriculum does not mandate spelling writing words. What is the correct order of the 5 steps in teaching vocabulary? Pronunciation, spelling, meaning, uses, memory. What is the teaching vocabulary in the classroom? Using real objects like pens, books, or chalk, called realia, or showing real objects. 34. Expressing the meaning of an action using gesture without speaking is called what? Mime. 35. What is the main objective of teaching rhymes in the primary level? Developing phonemic awareness and rhythm in students. What should be considered first when teaching a dialogue? Creating a realistic situation. 37. What is the inductive approach to teaching grammar? Letting students discover rules through extensive real world examples. Bottom up. What is the deductive approach to teaching grammar? Teaching rules directly first and then practicing with examples. Top down. What is the plural form of bench? Benches. What are the plural forms of sheep and deer? Sheep, deer, unchanged থাকবে. 41. In the sentence, wow, the dedicated teacher Runa quickly planned her lesson. What part of speech is wow? Interjection. 42. In the sentence, she lives at Enayatpur in Mymensingh. How are at and in used? At before smaller places and in before larger places. 43. A pen and a apple specific vowel sound. What type of articles are a and when? Indefinite article. 44. Which tense is used in the sentence? He has lived in Dhaka for 10 years. Present perfect. 45. Which tense is used in the sentence? Yesterday, Rafi visited a community school. Past simple. 46. In WH questions, what does when asked about? Time. 47. In English spelling, which of the following must always start with capital letters? The names of all 12 months of the year. 48. Pronouncing a specific syllable in a word with more force is called what? Word stress. 45. The rising and falling of the voice pitch during speech is called what? Intonation. 46. What is the evaluation method called where students fill in blanks to assess their reading skills? Close test completion item. Ever part 2, fill in the blanks and answer. In Bangladesh, English is taught as a compulsory subject from class 1 to class 12. English language competency in primary curriculum are comparable to level A1 of CEFR. 3. There are 4 basic language skills emphasized in the curriculum. 4. Listening is a Receptive language skill. Speaking is a productive language skill. Hearing, identifying, and manipulating individual sounds in spoken words is called phonemic. Combining individual sounds like BAT to say bat is called sound blending. Breaking a word dog into DOG is called sound segmenting. English letters, both lower and uppercase, are composed of four single strokes. Before writing the alphabet, kids should practice drawing patterns and stroke on paper. The vertical line and horizontal line are basic strokes in writing. Pencils should be held between the first finger and the thumb. Classroom language is used by teachers to manage the class, give instructions, and interact with the students. Open your books on page 15 is an example of classroom instructions. A lesson plan includes object, activities, time, and assessment. Modern lesson plans often follows the I do, we do, you do model of teaching. The full forms of NCTP, National Curriculum and Textbook Board, Bangladesh. Pre-listening is the stage of activate prior knowledge. Post-listening activities focus on consolidating what was learned or heard. 20. In controlled speaking activities, students have very little freedom to choose their own words. Role play is an example of a guided or free speaking activity. Phonics is the relationship between sounds and letter symbols. Reading fluency is composed of accuracy, rate, and proper expressions. Prosody. Reading a text in details for specific information is called intensive reading. Reading longer text for pleasure and general understanding is called extensive reading. In loud reading, teachers can easily identify students' pronunciation errors. Reading comprehension means understanding the meaning of written words. Questions with answers directly provided in the text are called literal comprehension questions. Substitution tables enable learners to constructively correct sentences. Writing a paragraph with the help of cues of questions is called guided writing. Free writing allows students to express their ideas without any language control by the teacher. In class 1, teaching vocabulary should only focus on pronunciation and meaning, not writing. Realia means using real objects in classroom to teach vocabulary. Explaining a word's meaning by acting without speaking is called miming. Rhymes help to develop phonological or phonemic awareness. Dialogue teaches language through real life situations. The inductive approach to grammar teaching moves from specific examples to general rules. The deductive approach to grammar starts with rules and then provides examples. The plural form of baby is babies. The plural form of knife is knives. A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. An adverb modifies a verb, adjective, or another adverb. We use an before a word starting with a vowel sound. We use the definite article for unique things like the sun and the moon. We use the preposition at a before time like at 6 a.m. Present continuous tense is used for an action happening right now. I have eaten rice is the present perfect tense. We use who to ask about a person. Every English sentence must begin with a capital letters. Intonation is the rise and fall of the pitch of voice during speech. 50 short questions and answer. What is the objective of primary level English curriculum? The objective is to develop basic communication skills, listening and speaking for daily life, and to establish a strong foundation for reading and writing simple English text. Which international framework of age appropriate competency is followed in the primary English curriculum? CEFR, Common European Framework of Reference Level A1. What are the four basic language skills? Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. What are the receptive skills and productive skills? Receptive skills are those used to receive and comprehend language, listening, and reading, while productive skills are those used to produce or express language, speaking, and writing. 5. What is the phonemic awareness? It is the oral ability to hear, identify, and manipulate individual sounds. Phonemics is spoken words. What is the main difference between sound blending and sound segmenting? Sound blending is combining individual sounds to make a complete word. For example, BAT, bat. Whereas sound segmenting is breaking a complete word down into the individual sounds. Example, bat, B, A, T. Why is it necessary to teach the correct strokes for writing English letters? It is necessary to maintaining writing speed, develop neat handwriting, and ensure controlled pencil movement. According to Donald Neil Thurber, who is four types of lines from the English alphabet: vertical lines, horizontal lines, diagonal lines, and circles and semicircle. What is the teacher's first duty? To help students hold a pencil in the pre-writing stage, to demonstrate it correct tripod grip, holding the pencil between the index finger and the thumb, and keeping the proper slightly titled. What is classroom language? It refers to the English words, phrase, and sentences used by teachers to manage the classroom, give instructions, deliver lessons, and interact with students. 11. Give two examples of classroom language. Open your book at page 10. Work in pairs. What are the core components of a lesson plan? Learning outcomes, objectives, lesson content, teaching, learning materials, teaching students, activities, time allocation, and assessment. What are the three main stages used in CAR teachers guide instead of Harvard's 5 steps: preparation, presentation, and evaluation? প্রস্তুতি উপস্থাপন এবং মূল্যায়ন. Briefly explain the I do, we do, you do model in lesson planning. In I do, the teacher demonstrated the activity. In we do, the teacher and students practice together. In you do, the students perform the task individually or independently. What is the importance of the pre-listening stage? It activities prior knowledge, generates interest in the topic, and allows students to predict what they are about to hear. What kind of activities can students perform during the while listening stage? Marking true false statements, filling in blanks with specific information, and matching pictures with spoken descriptions. Describe the three stages of speaking: control, guided, and free. Control, receptive practice, highly controlled by the teacher; guided, partially controlled practice using clues or prompts; free, students use language independently and freely to express themselves. How is the loop, listen, and repeat technique used in class 1 and 2 speaking practice? Students look at a picture, listen to the teacher's pronunciation and then repeat it aloud together or individually. What are the five pillars of reading? Phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, reading fluency, and comprehension. What is phonics? It is teaching the relationship between the sounds of the spoken language and the letters or groups of letters of written language. What are the three main components of reading fluency? Accuracy, speed rate, and proper expression. 22. When is intensive reading conducted? It is conducted when students read shorter text in detail within the classroom to understand grammatical structures and extract specific, precise information. What is the main benefit of extensive reading? It helps students develop reading habits, increases reading speed, and naturally express them to new vocabulary in context. How does prediction help in achieving reading comprehension? Predicting the story or content using pictures or titles before reading sparks seriously and keeps students highly engaged and focused on the text. What is the difference between literal and inferential comprehension? Literal comprehension answers are directly stated in the text lines, whereas interferential comprehension awareness require reading between the lines and analyzing clues to draw conclusions. What is control writing? It is a writing activity where students have no freedom to change words or structures. They copy or trace giving text exactly. Example, Gracia teaching alphabet letters or copying words. What is guided writing? It is writing sentences or paragraphs with partial freedom using teachers provided clues, templates, questions, or pictures. Why should free writing be taught to students? To help them express their own feelings, imagination, and thoughts spontaneously using their acquired language without restrictive rules. What is parallel writing? It is writing a new text by imitating the structure and format of a model text. Example, Gracia writing my friend by looking at a model paragraph on my family. 30. What are the five steps of learning vocabulary? Pronunciation, spelling, meaning, uses context, and memory. What is the appropriate make class 1 students write spelling when learning vocabulary? The class 1 curriculum prioritize oral communication, listening, and speaking, forcing young children to memorize and write spellings causes unnecessary cognitive burden. What is the benefit of using a real or real object in teaching vocabulary? It allows students to correctly directly associate real object with what, ensuring long-term memory retention and meaningful learning. How do rhymes develop phonics awareness? Rhyming words like cat, hat, mat repeat similar ending sounds, which helps students easily hear, identify, and play with phonetic sound patterns. 34. What practical skill do students develop by practicing dialogues? Dialogues help students learn how to communicate effectively in various formal and informal real life scenario. Example, at the grocery store, visiting a doctor. Give an example of the inductive approach to grammar teaching. The teacher writes sentences like the sun rises in the east and I go to school on the boat and guided students to discover that these are habitual actions, introducing the present simple tense rule afterward. What is the limitation of the deductive approach? Students may memorize grammatical rules mechanically but fail to apply them correctly in actual communication or real life context. What are singular and plural numbers? Singular numbers refers to one person, place, or thing, while plural number refers to more than one. Write the plural forms of ox and child, ox, oxen, child, children. What is the difference between countable and uncountable nouns? Countable nouns can be counted individually, example pen, book, whereas uncountable nouns cannot be counted but are measured instead, example water and rice. What is an action verb? Verb that express physical or mental action performed by the subject. Example run, think, read. What is the modal auxiliary verb? Give example can, should, must. How many types of articles are there and what are they? Two types. Identify article a and definite article the. In an honest man, why is an used before honest? Although honest begins with a consonant H, it is silent. The word is pronounced with a vowel sound one is so and is used. 44. What is the main function of a preposition? It sits before a noun or pronoun to show its relationship with other words in the sentence. State a simple rule for using at and in for places. Use at before specific or similar places and in before larger areas, cities, and countries. What is the structure of the present perfect tense? Subject plus have or has plus past participle of main verb plus extension. 47. Identify and explain the tense in by the time Rafia revised the students had finished their assembly. It is past perfect tense because it describes an action had finished that we completed before another action arrived in the first. What are the W's questions? Questions what begin with questions what starting with W and H. Example who, what, when, where, why, how, whose, which. Used to find specific information. 49. What is the difference between word stress and sentence stress? Word stress is placing extra emphasis on a particular syllable within a word, while sentence stress is putting emphasis on keywords within a sentence to convey meaning clearly. Last one, name two modern assessment techniques for evaluating primary school students in English: continuous assessment and task based assessment or language games. Okay, best of luck. Thank you very much.